So in today's video, I'm going to look at what to do if you have a pile of unfinished crafting or embroidery or hobby projects, a little bit like this one. Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery, and today we are tackling this subject of getting things finished, and I know it's one a lot of you can relate to. There are a few of you I know who are good at finishing things though, so if you are one of those, you can sit back and watch this with a sense of satisfaction that you're very good and you finish it, because we all want to be like you. If you're beginning your embroidery journeys, you might want to pay attention to this, because this might make your journey just that little bit easier. So when I put a call out for my YouTube channel members and my patrons to help me with this video, I had no idea really what a Pandora's box I was opening, because I got a lot of information back from you. Thank you so much to everybody who joined in the conversation, which is basically all of that. So it's clearly a subject that's quite close to a lot of people's hearts. I've tried hard to condense this down into a video that everyone will sit and watch, because there's a lot of information, but I think what we will do is regular Finish It Fridays, because it's clearly something that people would like some help with, and I think we can better tackle it together. So I'm just going to tackle a little bit of it in this video today. So I've got a pile of some of my unfinished projects here, which I'm going to use throughout the video, and I'm also going to set a challenge. It's a challenge for everyone, you and me included. I will join in with this as well. But before we look at those, let's just talk about why it's important to finish something and when it's okay to not finish something. So let's start with the reasons why it's good to get something finished. So I've written a few down here. So sense of achievement. Creating something is hugely rewarding. You get a real buzz from it. It's a little bit like that shopping experience when you go shopping and you buy something and you're excited because you've got this new thing. But when you make it yourself, you've got that buzz of a new thing, but you've also put all your energy and all your creative skills into it. So it's even more special. So a huge sense of achievement to actually finish it and have a finished thing that you have made. So you can also see your progress. If you don't ever finish anything, you can't see how far you've come. So if you finish something here and then you've made another 10 things and you finish those, you can see where you've come from and where you've come to, which is incredibly rewarding and encouraging to carry on and learn. Whereas if you've just got a big pile of unfinished things, you can't see that progress. So really good to see where you've come from and where you've got to. If you finish things, you're creating a body of work. Now this could be useful if you wanted to go on to further learning or further education. So when I joined the Royal School of Needlework and I went for an interview, and they said bring a portfolio, bring some things that you have made. If you haven't got anything finished, you can't take a portfolio. So I remember, grabbing and going, oh, what can I take? What can I take? And luckily I had some things finished. So if you're thinking about going further with it and you want a body of work, then you need to have your work finished. Okay, so you actually learn more when you do the stitching rather than not doing the stitching or undoing the stitching. So if you just keep putting stitches in, and if you're a watcher of my videos, you will have heard me say this before, just keep putting stitches in. And if you keep doing that, you will keep learning. If you stop and you get stuck and think, oh, I don't know, and it's not good enough, or you unpick it, you don't like it, and you stitch backwards and you take things out, you don't learn. So the only way of learning is to do. So you have to keep doing, you have to keep moving forward, and finishing it means you can go on to the next one. You can take those skills with you. And a couple of practical reasons for finishing things is you don't waste the materials. If you've bought a beautiful kit that's got all these lovely materials in and they sit in the bag and they never get used, it's a real shame. So either use them or take them out and use them for something else. If you finish it, you won't waste your materials, and also on that note, that will save you some space. So if you've got all your kits stored in a cupboard somewhere waiting to be done, they're taking up a lot of space. If you finish it, you can put it on the wall, you can give it away, and you're saving yourself some space. So let's also ask the question, do you actually need to finish something? So maybe you're learning a new technique or a new stitch, and you've got a project and you've bought a kit to learn it, and you think, oh well, I've learnt it now, and I've got to finish the kit. So you may not necessarily want a finished piece in mind, and do check out my video on sampling. If you find this a problem, you don't need to make a whole kit to practice something. You can just try a little bit on a sample, so you can check that video. I'll put it up in the corner here for you. Perhaps your interests have changed and you're no longer interested in the thing that you have started making. When we're creative people, it's very easy to find lots of new things to learn and new things to get excited about. And you can start something and you love that, and then something else has caught your attention, and you maybe don't love this as much as you thought, and you want to go and have a go at that. So that can also happen, and you don't need to make yourself finish something. If you really don't want to do that and you want to do this thing, then you have permission not to finish it. This is a good one, and this I know several people who have done this. So maybe the thing that you're making isn't relevant anymore. So maybe that embroidered christening gown that you're making for your grandchild, who is now about to turn 18, also going to college, is not relevant anymore. And I certainly, maybe that's a bit extreme, but I certainly know people who've done that. They're making a special thing and it doesn't get finished, and that person grows up. So obviously you don't need to finish that for them. You might want to finish it for somebody else, but yeah, that's a good reason why you might not want to carry on with that project. And I have just touched on it briefly, but if it's not bringing you joy, if you're really not enjoying the thing you're doing, we talked about maybe something else has got your attention, but don't slog through it. If it's making you miserable, don't keep going with it. I think these crafts and embroidery and painting and art, it should be enjoyable, should enjoy the process. There'll be a certain amount of pushing through when you're learning something and you're struggling a little bit, but if you really don't like it, really don't carry on with it. Find something that you do like doing. So we will come back to this subject and look a little bit more at things that you don't want to finish and what to do with them if you don't want to finish them. But I think I just want to illustrate that it is okay to make that decision. I am not going to finish this one. I will do something else with it. So when I asked my channel members and my Patreons to join in and help me with this video, the question I actually asked them was, why do you what are the reasons that you don't finish things? And it quickly became apparent that this subject has a whole language of its own, invented probably to make us feel a little bit better. So you might have heard some of these terms. So we have UFOs, unfinished objects, WIPs or WIPs, work in progress. Sandra, lovely Sandra, I went to India with. Hi Sandra. She has a PhD, projects half done. I like that one. Karen has got ADD, attention delightfully diverse. Likes doing other things. Beth has got startitis. She just can't resist get going on a new project. I think a lot of us can relate to that one. A lot of us have got startitis. And many of you mentioned perfection paralysis and that fear that it won't be perfect, which is one we're definitely going to tackle. So I thought that was quite funny. So what I thought I would do is go through these pieces. These are some of my pieces. And people think because I'm a professional that I finished everything. And I think I've probably got more pieces than most people, to be honest. So I thought I would go through a few of them and just talk about why I'm stuck with them. And maybe you can relate to that. And then we'll look at maybe what we can do about that. So these are some of the things that I have kind of got lying around that are ready to work on. I have been working on. There are more hidden away in dark places. But I just thought I'd pull these ones out because these are relevant to now. And I'll just go through them and just briefly talk about why I think I haven't finished them or why I'm stuck with them. I think it's good to analyse that and to ask yourself the question and be honest with yourself. Why do I not want to finish this? Why haven't I finished this? What's stopping me? This is a little book cover that I made the little book, and it's nearly finished. It's a bit of slow stitching, which I absolutely love doing, so it's not that I don't like the technique, but I think what happened with this is I made the little bird, I silk shaded the bird as an idea for a video, and then he was a little sample and I thought, oh, and so I cut him out and put him on some slow stitching. So I did that bit. So I kind of did the bit that I had in my head. That was the main part I was going to do, and the rest sort of got a bit forgotten, but I did a lot of the stitching. And there's not much left to do, so I think that one just got stuck because I kind of achieved my purpose. So him to the side. I'll go through these fairly quickly. This is a little butterfly idea that I had, and I wanted to use the bees and I wanted to use some crewel work, some stitches, and I started it and I really liked the idea, but I don't know, I couldn't quite make it work, and I just stopped with that one. So it's a case of not quite maybe having a purpose for that and knowing where I'm going with that one. So I've got a couple of ones here that I am working on, and I've been discussing these with my channel members and my patrons as well, because I think these are going to be projects for that. And this is a 12 Days of Christmas ones, and I had all these lovely designs and I was going to release them before Christmas and never happened. So I'm going to revive this for the members and my patrons. So I started to stitch them, but there was a lot of them, 12 of them, and I didn't get very far. So this one is nearly finished and I like that one. This one I got a little bit stuck with, my partridge in a pear tree. So those ones I started with a bigger project in mind and didn't have time to do the bigger project, but I think I might come back to these ones because I think it's got some legs in it. This is a little sampler that I made ages ago, and I was looking at this the other day thinking it's been sitting here for ages, this one. Absolutely ages. It just sits with my sewing stuff, and I made it to practice these little circles with. This was a stitch I learned with an Indian lady, an Indian embroiderer, and I just wanted to practice that, and then I pliqued this and practiced a stitch, and the only thing this needs is a stitch around this side of the heart, and for some reason I've never finished it. And it's only a little sampler, it's not going to be anything, but it hangs around because it's just got that one little bit left. So a silly reason to not have it finished and doing something. But sometimes, you know, they are silly reasons. You look at it and thought, well, that's, you know, I could have done that in the time I've explained it to you. This is another Patreon channel member one. We looked at this font. I gave an extra font, and we did a little bit about fabric paint, and that's as far as I got because that's what we did for the PDF. I think that was a free PDF. So that's as far as I got. It's really nice. It's got potential, but it had kind of served its purpose, so I didn't go any further with it. This is another one that's been hanging around for a while. This is me trying a little sample of putting some leather through a die cutting machine. And I cut these little shapes out and stitched them down, and really like that technique. But again, it never turned into anything, and it needs a little something else. So it's sort of sat there waiting for some inspiration, if you like. This is back to the birds and the book. I'll just bring that back in. So I did this little one, thought it'd be great to do a video on silk shaded birds, which I still like to do. So I had a go at this one. I think that's not shining too much. You can see that. Let me pull it out there. So I thought this is the one we'll do for a video, but I needed to try it. So silk shading, for anyone who's had a go will know this. It's quite complicated and needs a bit of working out, and needs more time spending on it for a video. It's not a quick video to do a silk shading video. So I tried a little bit, thought that's really good, and then other things happened and I didn't get any further than that. So again, one I would like to come back to. I've got all my threads chosen, my designs done, you know, it's all ready to stitch. I just have to work out how to film it and how to show you guys how to do it. So that's why that one got stuck, because it was a little bit more complicated. There's another one that's been hanging around forever, and this never had a plan for it, and maybe that's part of the problem. It was never a purpose. I just having a bit of fun. I tried some painting on the fabric, and I've done some stitching on it, a little bit of gold on it, and some beads. So it's got quite a lot of stitching on it, but I didn't do it for a video or wasn't for anything. And then if it's not for anything, the things that have a deadline become more important, and you go and do those. So this one is probably 80% done, I reckon, maybe even more than that, and just got stuck again because it didn't have a purpose to it. This one was going to be some stitching every day. If you see my other channel, Sarah Homfray Creates, you will see my drawing every day book. I did a sketchbook on there recently. That's the last video to go up, and I did a little bit of drawing every day because I wanted to improve my drawing. And then I thought, well, I'll do some stitching every day, and I'll just do a little bit because you don't want it to be too overwhelming. So I just made myself 12 squares like that, and I was just going to do, and it just one square a month, you know, not very much at all. And as you can see, I did January and February. March is half done, April's half done, May was pretty well all done, and then I stopped. And I don't know why I stopped. Life takes over, I guess, and I don't really like it as a piece. I wasn't maybe learning anything from doing it. I got into slow stitching after this, and I find slow stitching much more rewarding and easier to pick up and do more spontaneously than this. So I got halfway through that, and this was a couple of years ago, and then I thought I'll pick it up again this year from June and I'll carry on with it. And June and July have gone, and now we're in August and I haven't done that. So yeah, that's the story of that one really. Don't think that one's going to get finished, so I need to decide what I want to do with it. So with help from my supporters, we actually came up between us all 26 different reasons why we don't finish things. That's a lot, as I said, to get in this one video. So I thought what we will do is just look at the three main ones that came up again and again, and we'll talk about those and then find some solutions and to see what we can do about those. So the first thing that I want to say to everybody who has this issue is do not beat yourself up about it. Just be kind to yourself about it. We joke about it, and Jonathan and I joke, Jonathan's behind the camera today, and we joke between us about how many beads I've got, how many pots of beads I've got, and I joke about how many tins of paint he's got, little modelling tins of paint, and it's quite funny, and we have this little banter about it. But it can be a little bit debilitating to have all of these projects not finished, and although we laugh about it, you can quietly sort of be annoyed with yourself, or it can stop you doing more, or stop you finishing the ones you've got. So be kind to yourself and don't beat yourself up about it, and together we will see if we can find some solutions. So by far the thing that came up the most was the distraction of having a new project. You see something new, you see a new kit, you see a new design, you see a new pattern, somebody's doing a video on something, and you just get distracted. That was just by far the thing that came up the most. So I thought we'll have a look at that one first, and I'm going to set you with a difficult task initially, is to go and see how many unfinished things that you actually have. Be honest with yourself. I haven't pulled everything out because I have done this exercise before, but I've pulled the majority of them out, and I think unless you sort of see what you're actually faced with, it's hard to actually deal with it. So pull them out and see how many you've got. You might find then that you don't actually want to do that many. Maybe you've not got the time to do that many. Maybe you could have 3 lifetimes and you still wouldn't finish it. And if you can actually see the whole amount, you can maybe then start to make a decision about, am I actually going to make all these? Do I want to start them, or do I want to finish them? So take each one that you find, and honestly ask yourself, do you want to do this project? It was a good idea at the time when you bought it and you're all enthusiastic and excited, and then you got home and you're maybe looking at it going, oh, why did I pick that? Or it's too difficult, or it was fun at the time and I enjoyed buying and I enjoyed purchasing, but now I'm not sure if I want to do it. So look at your actual, maybe the new things that you've got that aren't started, and look at them and go, do I actually want to do this project? The likelihood is that if it's a recent thing you've bought, that you will still want to do it. You're still inspired by it. It's something you're interested in at the moment. But have a look and see what the oldest thing that you have is in your little pile, in your collection. Maybe it's quite old and you bought it a long time ago, or somebody gave it to you, or whatever reason you've got it. So look at the older ones, because they'll probably be easier to make a decision on. So I'm going to bring this bag in at this point and make a noise. Beautiful bag, very nice. This is my kits. I don't buy many kits because I really enjoy the process of designing and making them myself. That's what I do for a living. That's what I do on my YouTube channel. But occasionally I see something I really, really like and I buy it, and they are all in this bag. So I'm just going to pull a few out and have a look at them, bearing in mind what I've just said about looking at them honestly. And I'm just going to pull a few and see if we can apply what I've just said to those. Okay, so this is the latest one that I bought, actually at the last stitch show that I went to, and it's a Hito Mizashi stitching charts, Japanese embroidery. The minute I'm quite interested in slow stitching and sashiko embroidery and things like that, and this has got some beautiful threads in it and a little pattern that you can actually stitch on. So this is the last thing that I bought, and I am still interested in this. So this one is going to be kept. These ones are quite old ones. Now these are from, I don't want to rattle it too much, make a noise. So these ones are from a company called Spellbound Bead Company. If you're in the UK, you might know them. They're always at the shows. They're absolutely beautiful stand, which is part of the problem because they hang all their beaded things up they've made and they sparkle and they're just absolutely beautiful, and all of the things on there are lovely. And I've bought lots of kits and I've actually made a few of them, but I've got a few here. I'll just turn them that way. Strawberry bracelet kit and a snake bracelet kit, and I just think they're lovely, but there's a lot of work, and you look at the beads and you think, oh my goodness, there's just a mountain of beads. It's their beautiful bauble kit with a peacock on it. They're just stunning, but look how many beads are in it, and as soon as I see how many beads are in it, I know how long that's going to take me. A long time. So pretty sure I am not going to get that done, and as much as I love them, I might have to be strict with myself and go, you know what, I'm not going to do that one. It's just got too many. Maybe I could keep the smaller ones because they don't take so long, and maybe the larger one that I have had for quite a long time may have to go somewhere else. This one I'm going to get out because it's very rattly, and then I'll talk about it. So this is another purchase from a show, a quilting show near where I live, and I just saw it at the time and I thought, oh, that'll be fun. As you do, you're in the moment and you're enjoying the show and it's really inspiring. There's lots of things and you've got people with you who are buying things and you think, oh, that'd be a good idea. And I bought this t-shirt. I'm going to hold it up here. And it's got a little pattern on it, and it's actually like a little cross stitch pattern, and it's got beads with it, and you sew the beads on where all the little crosses are. I thought, oh, that looked beautiful. Beaded t-shirt, really nice. And I started it, and that's how much I did. That's it. It was really hard to sew the beads on stretchy fabric, and it's quite difficult, and I thought this is going to take me a long time, and it's not going to get done. It just isn't. But this t-shirt is quite nice. If I do that, you can't even see whether it's beads or not. So I'm going to just wear this as it is. So I think I'll take these beads off here, and I can put the beads in my bead stash, which Jonathan's smiling about behind the camera. Not more beads. And put them in my bead stash so I can use those for something else, and I've got a t-shirt I can wear, and that's that problem solved. It does have instructions with it, so what I tend to do if I have finished something or I take it apart, I keep the instructions. You can put them in a folder, so if you did want to know how to do something, you've always got that again. So it's just about looking at it, being honest with yourself. Am I actually going to do that? If not, what can I do with my pieces instead? So a couple more bits of advice on this that I have is these are kept in a bag, and they're down the side of the sofa in my living room, and I don't know they're there. I forget they're there and things go on top of them and I can't see them. So if you can and you've got space, maybe put these things out, put them on a shelf where you can see them, so you're aware of how many things you've got. So next time you go to a show, you think, oh, I really need that and that. You think, oh, actually my shelf is full. I can see everything I've got. I don't need any more, because I think hiding things away can add to the problem, and people put them in cupboards and you shut the cupboard doors and you can't see what you have got. So maybe if you can put them somewhere you can see them, then you can see how many things that you've actually got ready to stitch. So I've got a really good way that you can start to tackle the amount of kits you have got, and Jonathan actually started doing this with his. Jonathan does some plastic kit modelling, hence all of the paints that he has got, and an easy way to sort of start to get down them, which he did for a while and it did work, is to finish 2 kits for every one that you start. So it's like one of those diets, you know, when they say, oh, you can eat whatever you like and you can still lose weight. And you're like, oh, how does that work? But you can start your new kit. Pull that one out. I can start this. The only concession to starting this is that I finished 2 before. And that's a manageable thing to do, especially if they're nearly finished. I think, oh yeah, great, I can pick that up and I can do that one quickly. And then if you just keep doing that, in the end you're going to have none left. It's just maths. If you do 2 for every new one, the pile is going to go down. And I know that worked for Jonathan, so I thought it was a good idea to pass that on to you. And it's a manageable thing you can do. You can still look at that new kit that you want to do and think, I can start that, I'm just going to finish those 2 first. So the next point that I want to tackle is kind of linked to that first one really, but there's too many creative ideas. I certainly am overflowing with them. I'll never have enough time to do all of the things in my head. And I know that that was a lot of problem for people who wrote in with their comments about this. They said, you know, there's too many things to do, there's too many ideas, which is a bit like the too many kits really. But if you've got an idea about something, you've seen something, you might have seen a picture that inspires you, or you might have seen another artist that's doing something, so I really want to have a go at that. So that all adds to it. It doesn't have to be a physical kit that you've bought, it can be an idea. So what I tend to do with mine is I write them all down. This is the second one of 3 sketchbooks like this. I'm just about to start a 4th one, and I write everything down in here. Now I like to do my own design, so I will do a lot of drawings in here. Flick through that way. So it's not pretty sketchbook, but it is just literally my ideas. There's a few sketches, there's some writing in there, and I date it as well, so I know when I did it. So those are ideas that I come up with, but you can apply that to however you get inspired. If you find a picture you like, you can stick this picture in your sketchbook. If you've seen something on the internet you like, you could write the reference down, you could write the website where you've seen it, or the social media channel where you have seen it, so you know that it's always there. And if in a couple of weeks time you're still thinking about that idea, oh, it's really good, I want to do that, you can go back and find it, you can go back and buy it, you can go back and print it off, whatever you need to do. So it's kind of like a little reference book of all the ideas, and you can always go back to that and see, have a reminder of your idea, and you might find that actually that initial excitement's worn off and something else has taken its place and you don't need it, but if you do, you can always locate it again and find it again. So the last point that we're going to tackle in this Finish It Friday video is aiming for perfection, that perfection paralysis that I talked about earlier. And I know this is a huge thing for people, and in my teaching experience, I've been teaching for embroidery for 20 years now, and in that time I have seen this a lot, and it's just that idea in your head, I want it to be perfect, this has got to be perfect. And if you start with that, the chances of meeting that are quite low. Actually, if you think about it, it's quite difficult to achieve that. So if you start with this really huge expectation of what you want, it's going to be much harder to actually get there. There can be practical consequences to this as well. So if you're stitching something and it's not turning out right, and you want to take it out, so you unpick it all and you're doing that reverse stitching that I mentioned as well earlier, you're actually going backwards, you're not making any progress, you're not learning anything other than how to take it out. So then the fabric gets a little bit tired because it gets warm when you take the threads out. Obviously you've lost some thread, you can't reuse that thread most of the time, you have to use some new thread, you might not have enough, and you just generally get tired of it, and you just get disheartened with it and despondent with it because it's not going forward, it's not progressing, it's not looking how you want to, and the fabrics and the threads are all tired and you're tired of it as well. So there are practical consequences of that as well. So my suggestion for this problem is actually quite simple, and it's just about changing the way that you think about it. Instead of saying I'm going to do this thing perfectly, try saying instead I'm going to do the best that I can do. And if you do the best that you can do, you can't actually do any better than that. You are achieving your maximum potential. You're doing the very best that you can do with the skills you have in the place that you're at now with the materials that you have. And if you do the best that you can do, you will always achieve, you'll always win your, meet your goal. You'll always be a winner. And so it's just a change of mindset, really. Don't aim for perfection. Perfection is really hard to get. Aim for the best that you can do and you will always get there. So those are the sort of three things that I think come up the most when tackling unfinished projects. If you've got any comments you'd like to make, or any ideas or any thoughts on those, or anything that you've tried around those subjects that helps you, do let me know in the comments below, because I'm going to set you a challenge now. So I'm going to do two things, and I'm going to do this as well. So I want you to pick one thing that you are going to get finished this week. Let's all finish one thing this week. I am going to finish my little slow stitch book with my birdie on it. It's so near completion. I like doing it. I think it's a nice thing. I've actually made something useful. There's so many reasons for finishing this and so many reasons for not many reasons for not finishing it. So I'm going to finish that. So I challenge you to look through your things and find something that you're going to finish this week. Find the thing that's nearly done, that's almost there, that doesn't need much work to do, because then it's much easier to finish. So if you start with those ones, start with the quick easy things, then it's much easier to tackle the other ones. The second challenge I have for you is to find one thing in all of the projects that you've got that you don't actually want to finish. Then make a decision, something you're not going to finish, and make a decision about what you actually do with that. So I've shown you already, so that's my t-shirt. I have decided that I'm not going to stitch it, but I can still use this. I can put my beads in my stash and I can use those for something else, and I can wear the t-shirt, so I'm okay with that. That's how that one's going to go. Maybe with the other ones, if you've got a whole kit that's not been started, you could resell it. Perhaps you could give it to a charity organisation and they can sell it, so you've given it to somebody else who wants to have a go with it, or put it in their pile of unfinished things. That's up to them, and you've helped a good cause at the same time. So you could give it away, you could give it to a friend as well, or you could take the kit apart and you could repurpose the materials and put them in your stash to use for another project. So that's the two challenges. Find one thing to finish Put it on the top of wherever you work so you remember that that's the thing that I am working on next, and find one thing that you're going to let go of and you're going to say, thank you very much, I enjoyed buying you, looking at you, maybe having a go at you, but I am going to pass you on to somebody else to get some joy out of. So I hope you found the first video on this subject useful. We're all in it together. We'll help each other out. If you want to join in with videos and help me out with videos, because I couldn't have done this without my channel members and my patrons, I couldn't have come up with all of this information. So if you're interested to join in and to help me out in the future, then do check out either the YouTube channel membership or the Patreon channel, my Patreon channel. They do the same thing, but they're on different platforms depending on what you prefer. The information for both of those is in the description below this video. You can pop along, check that out here. If you just enjoyed the video and you want to support it, you can always click the super thanks button, which looks like this, and donate to us and help us in that way and join in and support the channel in that way. So there is lots of other topics to cover under this subject. We're going to have a look at how to organise your workspace and have a nice space to actually sit and stitch in. So you might want to check out this video up here. It's all about how to organise your stash and to get everything where you want it. So do have a look at that one. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.